I've been frightened to do things before, and I've done them anyway. And somehow or other, it always worked out to be the best thing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silver and Sensational. You know me. It is the I, Lois, here today to welcome you into my living room. A little different background for you. Actually, quite white compared to my usual dining room place. But today I wanted to bring you up to date on my quest of moving to France. It's been sort of a whirlwind week because I've had to make teeny tiny commitment steps to moving to France. And I may have mentioned before, I in one way am excited to leave, in another way sad to leave, and overall, I'm goddamn terrified. And I do mean terrified. I don't know what part of me. I try to visualize, walking the streets, having the dog with me, going to the market, sitting at the little bistro, having an espresso. And yet I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't know anyone there. And, my loved ones are back here. And and what if I'm making a mistake? What if at this stage in my life, I'm too old to do it? I mean, I've had people say to me, well, you should have done it 10 years ago. Truth be told, 10 years ago, when I was selling my house, I really thought I wanted to move to France. But, without knowing of a person like this agency, where would I even start? And then, of course, I had a heart attack. So that set me back. I had never really been sick. Actually, I'd never been in a hospital. Moving to Paris seemed to be something that wasn't ever going to be in the cards. Now, I have opened my mouth to you and everybody I know that I'm moving to Paris, so I feel I better move to Paris. But truly, it is frightening. And I think I do have good reason to be frightened. I mean, I am literally starting all over again. Not only with environment, the house, my environment, all new doctors, in a country whose language I'm really ill-equipped. But I feel that my love for the city and the lifestyle will overcome my fear of actually making the move. And something I need to share, and that is, I've been frightened to do things before, and I've done them anyway. And somehow or other, it always worked out to be the best thing. So I'm passing on to you, way in the back of my head, is nothing is poured in concrete. Except maybe some dead mafia person. And maybe, but I mean, nothing's poured in concrete. If, for whatever reason, it's a place that just truly doesn't work out for me, well, I'll leave. Do I have a plan B? No. Because I find if you have plan Bs, you don't commit to your plan As. And I cross bridges when they come. You can't sit and worry about the what ifs on every single thing. I think what we do, or at least what I do, is I think about the what ifs. I know what they are. sometimes I could say, well, if that happens, then I could do this. And often it's, if that happens, I don't know what I would do. But then I realize that whatever happens, whatever's happened in my life, I have always landed on my feet. And so I'm expecting that this will be the same thing. Of course, what really brought this terror is the fact that I emailed the agent and said, I'm so particular about my home environment because I'm very much a nester. And given the fact that I know Paris apartments are very small, closets are minuscule, because of my health, I absolutely need air conditioning, which is not a given in Paris. And I need an elevator. I don't care how minute it is, as long as it's a working elevator. But there again, the older, beautiful buildings generally don't have elevators. So now what? And, I don't think 6 weeks is going to be long enough. And I wrote all of this in there, and that, I'm willing to take an apartment 2 to 3 months in advance of when I intend to move and pay that extra money if it's the right place. So I got an email back from her, and she said, put your worries away. We generally do find something in 6 weeks. If it makes you feel better, we'll give it 10 weeks. And she sent me all these questionnaires on what I would want in my apartment. And I have to tell you, she has it so detailed. Not only the total living space, but how much the salon or the living room, I would want that space to be. What do I have in my current place that I love? And then she broke it down into 3 columns of what I need, what I would like, and what I absolutely not put up with. So this made it very simple. Do I need a dishwasher? No. Would I like one? Yeah. Not necessary. What is it? Do I need a view? I don't really need a view, but for me, do not even show me anything looking out at a building. So, I don't need a view of the Eiffel Tower, which from the Marais, which is the only area I want to live in, wouldn't have anyway. But, I could have a view of the Thames. I'm in the wrong country. A view of the Seine and the Thames. I've been watching too much Brit TV. Anyway, but that's not all that important to me. Would I like it? Yes. But it's not a need. So I did all of this, and then I took, and there's, several different requirements. Here's the deal with renting an apartment in France. Unlike the United States, where the tenant chooses the property, in Paris, I can't speak for the rest of France, but in Paris, the owner chooses the tenant. So in addition to showing them that you're financially secure to pay this rent, you also need to do what they call a dossier. It's a letter that you write to the owner expressing how you are so well suited to living in their property and why they would want you to live in their property. Again, the agent will translate this into French because it has to be in French. I sent her everything but that. Went along with the 10 weeks, signed all the power of attorneys and all that other stuff, and the exclusivity that I won't be renting properties from anywhere else while they have their contract, which is fine with me because I'm just so grateful that I've found them. So Why would anyone want me? Believe me, if you owned property, you would want me as a tenant. I improve property wherever I go. I first get permission. I then show them my apartment in Architectural Digest, the home I built in Bel Air that has a book, so that they get the idea that I'm not going to go in and schlub their place up. But I don't know that I'm going to do that in Paris. I really don't. It's not, the apartment is so small, or, will be so small. And what I'm intending on doing is just getting a 1-bedroom, hopefully in a vintage building where there's some character, to the apartment, because I don't do well in contemporary boxes, as long as, it has adequate space and air conditioning, all of the things I said I needed. In terms of maintaining, believe me, I maintain anywhere I live like I owned the property. I take care of everything. I touch up paint. I do, it's my neuroses. Wherever I live is my home, and I don't need to hold title to it. So that's the apartment and where I am with that. Then I've listened to or watched and participated in webinars on both taxes, which I'll need to talk to my own accountant here about as well, and then I will get someone there, as well as having, my will and everything intact. But there was the issue of insurance, and tenant insurance is not a big deal. So insurance there is so cheap. But because once you have, when you apply for a visa, the kind of residential visa I will be applying for, I need 3 things. I need documentation as to having, obviously, the financial means to sustain myself in France. And all they really ask for is that you have income to their minimum wages, which is about 1,700 euro, say $1,900 per month. The other thing they require is that you have medical insurance for 1 year. And the reason for this is because once I entered the country on my residential visa, from that point forward, it's after 90 days, I'm qualified to partake in France's medical system. But as with all governments and bureaucracies, it could take 6 to 9 months in order to get it into place. And so they require a year's health insurance policy when you enter the country. I've already talked with the people in Paris and insurance agency, and I have all the particulars. And so about a month before I apply for my visa, which I'm thinking of right now being the beginning of October. So the beginning of September, I would reach out to them and do all the paperwork and pay the premium for that. And then, of course, the third thing is a promise that I will not work there. So, all in all, they have things from what I understand, they welcome Americans as residents because they know we're not going to suck from the system unless something I don't know about in my life or whatever changes. I understand getting a visa will be pretty simple. And getting back to their medical insurance. So their socialized medicine, by the way, is known to be the best in the world. All medical expenses are paid for at 70% of what that expense is. As anyone on Medicare usually takes a supplemental, there are supplementals available. The cost of insurance there is so much cheaper than in the United States, but the cost of medicine or medical expenses, let's not get to medicine later, is 700% less than the United States. 700% less. And drugs are paid for 100% by the government. So my drugs will cost me nothing. A doctor's visit is €28. So out of pocket would be around €7, $9. Now, yesterday I was watching some news station and they were talking about the cost of Ozempic, which let's put aside, all the bad things about the health people, but people with diabetes really, really could use this drug. And I can't remember, I think the cost of Ozempic in this country is somewhere around $1,100 a month. And as you saw, all the other countries in the world, when it got to France, it was $40 or $100, something like that, 40 some dollars. It was this crazy, range, and Congress is trying to do something about the cost, but we really pay an inordinate amount of money into the profits of the drug companies and into the pockets of the CEOs and their executives, because anyway, I'm not going to get on that subject, but all drugs are they are actually free. I've checked out all of the drugs I take, all of the injections, infusions, all that kind of stuff. Everything is available there. So that's where I am in my journey into moving to France. I will keep you updated. I'm hoping to find someone to help me take care of all this stuff. I've gotten quite lazy myself in actually going through my personal items, so I have to get back on the wagon again to get that going. And I am looking forward to doing it, but part of me, I don't think has really accepted the reality that I will be moving. So that's pretty damn scary, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I hope what I've said and talked about today, you could apply to some fear you have in your life, that you've been sitting on the fence about because you're paralyzed from the fear. And you go through all of the risks involved and then go through all of the pluses involved, and you stick your toe in the water and then you jump in full force. So on that note, I will end today's show. And thank you for tuning in. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe and like. Also, share us with all of your friends, family, and anybody you meet on the street, perhaps. Hit the notification button so you know when we drop our new episodes, which is generally on Friday. And right now in our description box, we have just started a blog. Click onto that link and it'll take you to our blog, and I know you'll enjoy it. So, everyone, thank you again for tuning in. Take care, much love, and God bless. Bye now.